December 24th, 1971. A normal flight, carrying families, dreams, and Christmas hopes, suddenly turned into a nightmare in the sky. High above the vast and unforgiving Amazon rainforest, an airplane was struck by lightning, and within seconds, it was torn apart. Passengers screamed, metal ripped through the air, and then silence. The aircraft disappeared from radar as if it had never existed. Rescue teams believed no one could survive. They were wrong, because somewhere deep inside the jungle, a 17-year-old girl had just fallen from the sky, and she was still alive. The flight took off from Lima, heading toward Pucallpa, crossing one of the most dangerous terrains on Earth, the Amazon rainforest. Inside the cabin, everything felt normal. Passengers smiled, flight attendants served food, families talked about Christmas plans. Among them was a young girl traveling with her mother. She had no idea this would become a fight for her life. 30 minutes into the flight, the sky began to change. Dark clouds gathered, thunder echoed in the distance. The pilots saw the storm ahead, but instead of turning back, they flew straight into it. Within moments, the plane was swallowed by darkness. Violent turbulence shook the aircraft. Luggage fell from overhead compartments. Passengers screamed in panic. And then, a blinding flash of light. Lightning struck the wing. Fire erupted instantly. Within seconds, the wing broke apart. The aircraft began to disintegrate mid-air. At over 10,000 feet, the plane was no longer a plane. It was falling debris. In the chaos, the girl was still strapped to her seat. And suddenly, she was no longer inside the plane. She was falling. Through the open sky, spinning violently, attached to a row of seats. The wind roared in her ears. Below her, nothing but an endless sea of green. And then, darkness. When she opened her eyes, it was morning. Christmas Day. She was lying on the forest floor, alive. From a fall of over 10,000 feet, she had survived, a miracle that defied logic. Her body was broken, her vision blurred, one eye completely shut, her bones injured, her body weak, but her heart still beating. There was no one around, no voices, no rescue teams, no signs of civilization, only the sounds of the jungle, insects, birds, and silence. Miles away from humanity, she was completely alone. But she wasn't just an ordinary girl. She had grown up around the Amazon. She knew one rule. If you want to survive, follow water. With barely any strength left, she began to move. Step by step, through thick jungle, through pain, through fear. She found a small stream, and she followed it, because that stream could lead her to life. Days passed. She had no food except a few candies she found from the wreckage. No shelter except the forest. Her wounds began to rot. Insects crawled into her skin. Pain became constant. Hunger became unbearable. But she didn't stop, because stopping meant death. Time lost meaning. Days felt like nights. Nights felt endless. She began to hallucinate, hearing sounds, seeing things that weren't there. At one point, she thought she saw a house, but it vanished. It wasn't real. The jungle was playing tricks on her mind. Eventually, the small stream became a river, a wider path, a stronger hope. She knew where there is a river, there are people. With her last strength, she followed it, sometimes walking, sometimes letting the current carry her, day after day, fighting to stay alive. By now, her body was shutting down, her wounds infected, her strength nearly gone. She was ready to give up, to let the jungle take her. But then, something changed. She saw something that didn't belong in the wild, a small wooden structure, a sign of human life. With the last bit of energy she had, she reached it, collapsed, and waited. Hours later, local workers found her, barely alive, weak, injured, but breathing. After days lost in one of the most dangerous jungles on Earth, she had survived. Out of 86 passengers, she was the only one who lived. Not because she was the strongest, not because she was the luckiest, but because she refused to stop moving. Her story is not just about survival. It's about the human will to keep going, even when everything says you shouldn't. Because sometimes survival isn't about strength, it's about not giving up, even when you fall from the sky.